Hello, Peachies! Welcome back to Dear Peachy! Makeup is art. And what's more fun than using colors and shapes to express creativity? Today, we're stepping outside the usual and bringing you 3 bold graphic liner looks that might not be for everyday wear, but they're guaranteed to turn heads at any special occasion. If you've been feeling stuck in a routine and want to try something different, this is your sign to go all out. In this video, we're featuring Shay, a rising makeup influencer from XiaoHongShu. She'll be showcasing 3 stunning looks: the Forgotten Amusement Park, the Wizard, and the New Age Witch. Even though she's just starting out, her unique skills and edgy style have already gained her a loyal following. From intricate graphic liners to unexpected color combinations, her work is truly next level. If you're ready to get inspired and maybe even have your mind blown, make sure to check out her profile. Now let's dive into these 3 mesmerizing graphic liner looks. First, Shay dips into the mustard brown shade using a shading brush. She starts by layering it onto the outer corner of her lid, then softly blends the remaining product into the crease to create depth. Next, she adds a bit more of the same shade to the inner corner, blending it towards the center of the lid and upwards to connect with the crease. To balance the look, she sweeps the shade onto the outer third of the lower lash line, blending it upwards to meet the outer corner. To brighten things up, she takes a light nude or white shade and pats it onto the center of the lid. She also applies this shade to the inner corners and along the under eye area, or edgy cell, for a fresh, awakened look. Now, to add depth, she picks up a black eyeshadow with a shading brush and lightly builds it up at the outer corner, blending in an upward motion for a seamless gradient. For that extra pop, she switches to a high shine illuminating highlighter, using a pointed brush and dabs it onto the center of the lid, right where she applied the light nude shade earlier. Finally, using her fingertips, she adds a touch of highlighter to the inner corners and under eye area. Moving on to the lower lash line, Shay switches to a fine edge brush and picks up an orangey brown shade, carefully lining the inner third to add warmth. Then, she takes a dark brown shade and fills in a liner from the middle to the outer corner, subtly widening her eyes. She also uses this shade to softly contour her under eye area for a more defined look. To add even more depth, she selects a deep green shade and lightly applies it to both the inner and outer corners of her upper lid, creating a more deep-set effect. At the same time, she refines her nose contour, adding definition to the bridge and root before highlighting her brow bone and nose bridge using the same illuminating highlighter she used earlier. Next, Shay tightlines her eyes with a black eyeshadow, then extends it outward into a lifted wing. She then curls her lashes and applies mascara to both the upper and lower lashes for that extra touch of drama. For a final pop, she adds a gold glittery shade along the inner lower lash line, bringing light and sparkle to the look. Shay applies a bright berry pink blush just under her eyes, creating a cool contrast against the eye makeup. For an extra dreamy blurred effect, she suggests layering a soft purple shade on top of the blush. This adds depth and a touch of whimsy to the look. Now, for the star of the show, the graphic liner details. Using a flat detail brush, Shay carefully traces out the intricate designs on her eyes. She starts with a purple mauve shade, sketching a 6-point sparkle shape near the head of her brow and another one beneath the outer corner of her lower lash line. You can adjust the size and placement to suit your features, ensuring everything looks balanced and harmonious. For the tiny blue dots, Shay uses a rounded head detail brush dipped in a blue shade. She starts by placing the first dot at the nose root, just below her brows. Then, she continues adding smaller dots along the groove, forming a soft curved line. The blue dots then extend from the middle of the nose root, down towards the under eye area, gradually getting smaller for a seamless gradient effect. To achieve this precise look, you can switch to a fine detail brush, just like the one Shay is using here. And here's a close-up of how Shay mapped out the dots on both eyes. Take a good look and use it as your guide. Although it wasn't shown in her tutorial, you can also add a few pink dots sparingly around the eye area to create more depth and dimension. If you take a closer look, you'll notice that Xie has subtly placed them in different areas, adding an extra touch of detail to complete the look. Feel free to experiment and make it your own. The next look is the Wizard, a mesmerizing purple-gray metallic sparkle eye look. Xie starts by blending her contour powder all over the upper lid to create depth. Then she applies a soft purple shade across the entire lid as the base color. To build more dimension, she layers a darker purple tone on the outer corner and under eye area for a subtle, smoky effect. Switching to a small, pointed brush, Xie highlights the inner corner with a white eyeshadow, blending it towards the inner third of the crease to create a soft-cut crease effect. This step helps brighten and open up the eyes. To enhance the color contrast, she lightly dusts a soft pink blush just below the inner corner for a touch of dreaminess. Then, she returns to the darker purple shade, layering it again at the outer corner, blending in circular motions towards the middle of the lid for a seamless transition. For extra depth, Xie picks up an indigo shade, applying it along the upper lash line and blending it outward. She also adds the same shade to the inner corner and the outer third of the lower lid for a cohesive, smoky effect. To make sure everything looks smooth and well blended, Xie switches to a clean blending brush and softly buffs out the edges of the eyeshadow. Using a fine edge brush, Xie dips into a light purple shade and carefully traces a curved line along the inner third of her lower lash line. You can follow the dotted curve reference shown in the picture to get the perfect shape. Next, she creates another line by following the inner corner and extending it outward. This second line should be parallel to the first curve you just drew, keeping the design balanced and symmetrical. To brighten up the inner lower lash region, Xie picks up a silver eyeshadow and lines it along the inner lash line, adding a subtle shimmer. For eyeliner, Xie uses a black eyeshadow, starting at the outer corner before working her way inward. She then connects the liner from the inner corner to the outer corner. The liner does not extend outward or create a wing. Instead, it simply enhances the natural shape of the eyes, making the gaze appear more defined and alert. For the sparkle-shaped liner at the outer corner and brow bone, Xie uses a mauve-purple shade to carefully trace them out. She encourages you to get creative. You can fill in any shape you like, but if you prefer, you can follow her design for inspiration. If you want the edges of the sparkle to have a soft, faded effect, try adding a lighter purple shade along the edges and gently blending it out with your fingertips. This will create a dreamy, diffused look. Just have fun and experiment. To take the eye look to the next level, Xie adds a few metallic dot stickers, placing them sparingly over the eye area for a futuristic and playful touch. Finally, false lashes are a must for this bold look. Xie applies both upper and lower lashes to enhance the drama and intensity of the eyes. For the final look, the New Age Witch, Xie creates a dark, smoky eyeshadow paired with a bold lower lash liner, giving off an aura that is both cool and mysterious. To complement the intensity of the eyes, she first shapes her brows into a narrow, curved arch using a black brow pencil. She begins by locating the highest point of her brow and extends it at both ends to create a sleek, flicked shape. Since her natural brow hairs are still visible, she layers a white eyeshadow over them to lighten their appearance. For those with thicker or darker brows, she suggests using a concealer to fully mask them before setting with powder. With the brows done, she moves on to the eyeshadow. She starts by applying a gray shade to the outer corner of her eyelid, blending it inwards toward the upper lid and nose root to create depth. Using the remaining product on her brush, she softly sweeps the same gray shade onto the outer third of her lower lash line, adding balance to the look. For the middle of the lid, she dabs on a light purple shade and blends it out, using her fingers to ensure a seamless transition between the colors. She then adds the same shade to the center of her XiaoHongShu, swiping gently from left to right to enhance the under eye area with a subtle pop of color. To brighten up the eyes, she picks up a white eyeshadow and applies it to the inner corner, blending it over the crease and into the light purple to softly create a cut crease effect. Now, it's time for the defining feature of the look, the bold lower lash liner. Xie carefully lines her eyes using a black eyeshadow, starting from the inner corner and filling in along the upper lash line. She sharpens the inner corner into a precise point, elongating the eyes for a more intense gaze. From there, she extends the liner along the lower lash line, carefully tracing it toward the inner third of her eye. To complete the shape, she connects the lower outer corner liner to the inner third, forming a bold and structured lower lash frame. To further define the eye look, Xie fills in a thicker yet short wing eyeliner at the outer corner, giving it a subtle cat eye effect. With the remaining product on her brush, she lightly traces the under-eye fat contour. Next, using the same fine-edged brush, she dips back into the black eyeshadow and carefully traces two sharp, pointed edges along the lower lash line. She layers the shade bit by bit, allowing the depth and intensity to gradually build up. Switching to a shading brush, she picks up more of the black shade and deepens the outer corner, softly blending the edges for a seamless transition. For a touch of enchantment, Xie taps a fine, glittery shade onto the center of her lids. To complete the eye makeup, she curls her lashes, coats them with mascara, and applies falsies, both on the upper and lower lash lines, to intensify the look and make the eyes appear more defined and dramatic. Now, onto the lips. Xie begins by defining the shape, using a fine, pointed head brush dipped in contour powder to carve out an M shape over her Cupid's bow. She then slightly overlines the lower lip, making it appear plumper and fuller. To lift the corners of her mouth, she softly darkens the outer edges of her lips. For color, she applies a light purple shade to the outer edges of both the upper and lower lips, using her fingers to gently blend it out for a soft, natural diffusion of color. Then, she layers on a warm red lip gloss, pressing it into the lips while ensuring the edges blend smoothly into the purple tint. The glossy finish adds a new dimension to the look, giving the lips a luscious, almost ethereal texture. For the final cherry on top, Xie decorates her face with tiny, hand-drawn sparkle shapes, some above her brow bone, some under her eyes, and a few on her cheek. At the center of each sparkle, she places metallic dot stickers. If you prefer, you can swap the stickers for tiny rhinestones for an extra bit of dazzle. With that, the New Age witch look is complete. Dark, mystical, and beautifully enigmatic. Finally, we've reached the end. These three distinct yet equally enchanting looks, from the dreamy sparkle of the first, to the celestial elegance of the wizard, and finally, the bold, mysterious energy of the New Age witch, each look tells its own story, blending colors, textures, and intricate details to create something truly mesmerizing. Whether you recreate these looks exactly or take inspiration to craft your own version, the beauty of makeup lies in making it uniquely yours. Which look do you like the most? Don't ask us because we can't decide. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.